Who's is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts.
Stop it again.
That was fucking
That was
brilliant.
good. Nope. That was good.
That was so rich and nice.
Do it again.
Why? What did I do wrong?
Just do it again.
Tell me what I did wrong.
He didn't hit record.
Do it again.
You motherfucker. That was the
Faster?
best intro
Was
I've
it too
ever
slow?
had.
No. It was there, but it wasn't Sean.
Get yourself excited. Come on.
So lovely. Thank you, guys.
Welcome to Season 3 of 3.5 Gentlemen, the podcast where 3 of the 4 hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections, and one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Jeremiah.
I don't wear shoes. They make me fall down.
Eddie.
Use your hips. Just use your hips.
And Brandon.
Fussy.
Madonna.
This season, each host will pick a film from each decade, from the 70s to today, that exemplifies that time period. Some of the films will be underrated, others will be classics, while others still will be overrated piles of cinematic crap.
Like Point Break.
Yes. To finish off each decade,
Jesus.
To finish off
It
each
is a nice
decade, the
film.
hosts will have a group pick that is sure to delight. As with every review we give, our goal is to answer one simple question: how many drinks does it take to get through each film we've just watched? At the end of the podcast, we'll rate the movie based on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 is a perfect film you can watch stone cold sober, and 5 is a terrible film that leaves you hankering for a Perrin tablet without which you just couldn't go on.
You got the Nathan Lane.
That was really good.
That was actually really good.
That was good.
In addition to our review, we always pair our selection with a cocktail that we hope will enhance the viewing experience. This season, we want to focus a little bit more on the cocktail, so please feel free to shake, stir, and mix the cocktail that we've chosen and settle in for what we hope will be an engaging review. With that, gentlemen, what do we have on the dance floor this evening?
Tonight, we have our first entry into our 90s film series, and this is Sean's pick.
What up, 90s?
Which
What
is-
up, 90s?
1996's The Birdcage. This Robin Williams classic is rated a 7.1 on IMDb and has a critic score of 81% and an audience score of 81%.
I thought that
on
was
Rotten
weird.
Tomatoes.
I know.
What are the
It was
odds of that?
81.
So the story is about a gay cabaret owner played by the incomparable Robin Williams and his companion played masterfully by Nathan Lane, also known as, maybe best known as,
You could say Mouse Hunt.
Timon.
Oh, yes, it is.
Why would you mouse hunt?
'Cause that's some obscure
I haven't
reference
not
movie
think
you would-
I haven't thought of that one in years.
Jesus, you pulled that one out of the
gosh.
vault.
I don't even remember that was an actual movie.
Oh man, Mouse Hunt.
That movie?
I think it's Stuart Little for a second. I was like, what?
Well, going back to that one, they agree to put up a false straight front so that their son can introduce them to his fiance's right-wing Sean-like parents.
Sean, like,
The cast is rounded out with an A-list cast. The cast is
Sorry about that.
With A-list actors,
Yeah.
including really the one and only Gene Hackman, Diane Wiest, and hey, Ally McBeal.
Callista
She's in
Flockhart.
here, Callista Flockhart, and she's cute.
She's
She is
So
adorable.
cute. And
Jeremiah,
she's
weigh
such-
in on her cuteness.
oh, yeah, because Harrison Ford is like totally like married to her and shit. So,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that's true.
So
And,
true.
and
forgot
last
about
time
that.
we did Empire, so it's just we're now shipping people together.
Yes.
Is that what we're doing now?
That's what we're doing.
Jeremiah, take us through first impressions.
Before we get into our cocktail selection, we need to first talk about whose film this is, and additionally, what our initial impressions of the movie were before sitting down to watch it. Since this is Sean's pick for the 90s, he will go first.
So,
Sean?
I really have been wanting to do a Robin Williams movie. I love Robin Williams. He's just fantastic. And I had a bunch to go from. We could have done Hook. We could have done
Doubtfire.
Miss Doubtfire.
Good Will Hunting.
but
Mouse. Wait.
So this is a movie that I grew up on, which is hysterical. But because I grew up in a very conservative household, and my parents loved this movie, and this is one of those ones that just kind of I remember watching as a kid and just laughing my ass off the entire time. And now that I was an adult, I literally sat on the couch and laughed my ass off. For
You probably know
one in
the
45
jokes more.
Oh, I
They
could
hit- they
recite
land
the movie
different.
yeah. Anyway, Eddie, your first impression.
I remember the last time I watched this movie. It was 1999 or when was the movie came out?
96.
96.
I think it was
So
about
I was
August.
I
that you
was
saw it.
11 or 12. I didn't watch
Maybe
it.
August 18th.
No,
17th,
I
somewhere
wasn't
around
there
there.
with you when I saw it. No.
Okay, I didn't
But-
know you then.
But I remember it was Like I laughed at it. It was really funny. It was Robin Williams, right? And I remember, but at the time it didn't hit. So, but my first impressions of this movie was I was really looking forward of watching this movie because like I want to see where the jokes are at and where it's gonna hit. And I was looking forward to watching this movie just to remember like, okay, is it as funny as I remembered, or is it gonna be funnier? I didn't think at all if it was going to be worse. I just knew it was going to be a funny movie.
Jeremiah.
I can't believe that this has taken this long to do a Robin Williams film in our podcast, actually. I mean, it's hit or miss with him, but...
We're in the 90s now.
First.
So what would have been...
Well, I mean, it's
what
3 seasons in, but okay.
Oh, yeah.
Minnie and Mork.
I'm talking about this season. I'm talking about this.
Mork and Minnie.
Oh, Minnie and Mork.
I can't tell you when the first time I actually saw this movie. I know that it was somewhere in the late 90s. And like you, Sean, I thought it was funny, but the jokes went way over my head. I didn't even understand half the shit. And now you get older and you see it on Bravo or some like AMC shit, and then you watch the show, you watch the movie, and you're just like, that's fucking hilarious, man. And not just hilarious, you just seen like Robin Williams doing a role for the first time, and you're just like, fuck, what a movie to do at the height of your career. And I thought that was pretty fucking impressive. And so saw this last week and everything, and I was just like, okay, I need a good laugh. We've been watching a lot of horror films, and it's been kind of a
lot of action.
A lot of
action, serious shit. I need a good thing for the heart. So, and Nathan Lane, man, he's the shit, yo.
Brandon.
Yeah, so I remember seeing this one time in my life, and it was probably right around, probably like July of 1999, so I beat you to that, Ed.
Best year.
But no, it was when we would get the free HBO weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And they would just like rerun the movie.
Yeah.
And I remember...
When HBO only had like 3 movies?
Yeah.
Oh. You get what you get.
And you know, I swear
You
to God,
seriously get what you get. It's like, all right.
HBO 2 on the deal.
so I was still, I guess, young and naive, and I don't want to say sheltered. I was naive to the world, and I remember watching, for whatever reason, HBO did this, but they backed this movie up with Kevin Kline's In and Out. And
Which
so
is terrible.
I watched 5 hours of.
I enjoyed that
I
one.
love Kevin.
No, In and Out's a great movie.
I enjoyed that
I
one.
can't take
Again,
Tom Selleck
have not
seriously.
seen
I'm
it.
sorry.
Have not seen it for years since HBO showed it for free.
You saw it on HBO 2?
Also, like 1999.
No, but I mean, so I laughed because I always liked Robin Williams. We used to watch the TV Land reruns of the Mork and Mindy show or whatever it was, Mork and Mindy, and so I always liked Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire and everything, but I didn't get any of the jokes, right? And so watching it again as an adult with a little clearer understanding, you see the satire, you see the humor, you see the fact that this pokes holes and jokes at everything and everyone.
I think that's
and
what I
it's
like,
unabashed and it's unapologetic, and I loved it for that, for sure.
I think that's what drew me to it a lot, was that it equally offends all classes of people, regardless of your political views, regardless of everything. It's just hilariously attacking literally everyone, which is what comedy should do. It should be, comedy should hit everyone the same way, right in the guts.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be apologizing. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Right.
This one definitely doesn't. It doesn't hold back, and it doesn't feel bad for saying anything. Like, I mean, it goes after Republicans, it goes after
Liberals,
the
it
gay
does everything.
people, and I'm keeping it nice and it goes after everything, and it does it really well.
Yeah,
You know?
it threads that line very well,
Yeah.
and I think that one of the big worries I had in choosing it was that it wasn't going to hold up and it would be kind of like offensive. But as I watched it, I was like, "Oh, this is equally offensive to everyone, so we're okay."
Yeah.
because like,
And it's funny you say that, because that was my first. I got maybe 15 minutes in, and I said, when Nathan Lane comes in, we're going to talk about him, and the whole drag queen persona, over the top. I mean, he makes RuPaul look straight as hell. And at first it's like, ooh, this could go really bad. But because they couple it with jokes at everybody else, especially using Gene Hackman as kind of that other bashing board, it isn't offensive. And I really think that it could have easily screwed up and really hurt itself. But they really did a good job of it.
And Gene Hackman, man, seriously, like fucking,
Well,
what a champ, dude.
Yeah,
Seeing it without a mustache, by the way, I don't care if it was in a dress or not.
Personally, I'm way far ahead. I was waiting for the end of the movie, so I was like, I remember. Where is it? Gene, come on, where is it, Gene? It's like, there he is. I found you, Gene. But I was just like, God, he would look so good that way too. But I just forgot. For some reason, I thought Wesley Snipes was in this movie. I don't know why.
Oh no, that was that Patrick Swayze movie.
Yes, I don't know why I thought that. I got that switched up with
Roadhouse.
No, it wasn't Roadhouse. It was like him and
3,000
John
miles.
Leguizamo.
Yeah, it's some type of Vegas movie. I don't know why I got
yeah.
I got that crossed up, but
It was a Bubba Hotel. It was
I was
the
a
other
little
one, yeah.
bit. Also, I mean, like I'm building off of what Brandon said. Like it definitely wasn't offensive as much as like I was
You
like, oh,
expected it to.
yeah. But I was a little sad with Val. With a little bit, he was almost like at first he was embarrassed. It took him a while to like to own up to like, hey, but it's no big deal. Those are your parents. Like, just own it, and then just if anything, just be upfront. And it is something that maybe the kids at that in the 90s, maybe they went through that.
Well, I feel like the
think
gay
I think we need
culture
to
was
get
just
and we need
starting.
to get into that when we
Yeah.
get into the review. But first, I think we should get through the.
Oh God, we haven't even gotten to the drink yet.
Oh, by the way, that movie was Tu Wong Fu.
Tu Wong Fu.
Thanks for everything. I think.
Yes, I remember that one. Oh God, that was a good one.
Eddie, why don't you take us through the cocktail?
God, we haven't gotten to
Yes.
this. I thought we're just going in on it.
No, that's okay.
Let me
We're
get my
good.
notes already.
We're good. We're just gonna be a little.
Well, let's talk about James Bond when we finally do one.
As we mentioned earlier, with each movie, we try to pair the tone, feel, and overall impact of the story of a cocktail. This season, we really wanted to stress the cocktail and more and how it links up to the movie selection. Everyone who listens knows when we finally watch a Bond movie, never gonna happen, we'll pair it with a vodka martini, shaking
Literally,
that
people
stir with a
out there,
lemon
we
pill.
had talked about rearranging
Dude,
things
seriously,
and
this-
getting rid of James Bond.
Seriously, but tonight's
Sean's
cocktail was
making
chosen
me
by
nervous.
Sean. So let's have Sean take us through the cocktail. Sean?
Explain, Sean.
So tonight we have the Agador Spartacus.
Because men on the sides of their cock.
blah, 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 blah.
Like a faithful manservant, the Agador Spartacus has a lot of Guatemalan heat with rum, pineapple juice, jalapeno syrup, simple syrup, lime juice, mango, and a lime wedge. This fun, fruity, spicy cocktail
You can't control this heat.
is the perfect pairing for this over-the-top movie. Drinking the Agador Spartacus will make you fall down faster than Hank Azaria in a pair of loafers. For our complete recipe, please visit our website at theGentlemanPodcast.com.
Let's try this drink out, my
I'm
friends.
afraid of the jalapeno.
Yeah, the jalapeno, it's spicy.
Cheers. You want to do a cheers?
It's good. It definitely has
Spicy.
heat.
Spicy.
No, I don't like,
I like
jalapenos.
I like the
don't
pineapple
peppers.
juice. I like the pineapple juice.
Who doesn't like pineapple juice?
Yeah.
Am I right?
It's good though. So I think it's actually like it feels fruity wwithout, and the jalapeno cuts into it. So it's almost
No, you could do without the jalapeno.
You don't like the
I don't like the jalapeno.
I need to get some Tums pretty soon. I'm old, man.
like
what the
this
fuck?
movie. It's a mixed bag.
I feel like you could easily adjust this drink and make it how you want it.
AKA,
If you don't want jalapeno, if you don't want that,
I'll do it in
spicy.
Spanish. Not a jalapeno.
Yeah, no jalapeno.
Not jalapeno.
All right, so let's pick up where we left off before.
I want to talk about Hank Azaria and how much I love him.
So I think Agador Spartacus is the perfect place
It
to
is.
start.
It is. So a little bit ago, we watched as a family Anastasia. And I remember, I know you're going to be like, well, we're going to. And I remember all I
You
can
wonder
remember
why I
about.
pull Mouse Hunt out of my ass? As
Yeah.
No, I'm getting there.
Where are you guys getting
Anastasia.
these
I'm getting there.
fucking
The John
movies,
Cusack-
man?
Shh, Kelsey Grammer,
Kelsey Grammer.
Meg Ryan, whatever. But I remember because I told my family, I was like, I remember loving this movie. And I started watching, and I realized that I only really loved Bartok, the little bat. And why? It's Hank Azaria.
it's Hank Azaria.
Because the guy can do absolutely anything. His voice, his inflections, his humor, his accents. I mean, he is a master, I think, of putting these different characters into it.
He's one of the best reasons on why I love The Simpsons, because he does millions and millions of characters and everything like that. You know, so
Seriously.
Because
so
imagine that show without his voice talent.
it wouldn't be the same, dude.
wouldn't.
Do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I quote this movie literally a year, but I bet it's in the dozens. Because I mean, I don't know how many times
This and the court jester.
I don't
We put
make
those
yeah.
together.
I don't make me wear the shoes. They make me fall down. Or come on, Gloria.
Yeah, I was about to say, come on, Gloria, let's go.
I literally say it all. Anyway, when he's in that little costume, he's we're doing hard for the money. It just makes me.
He's so fucking talented.
God.
He is a talented actor, a talented artist, man. I mean, when you think about it, he can do anything. The same year he was doing Heat and doing this
Yeah.
movie in the same time, he was doing like 18 hours of work, going from one set to another set. That's hardcore shit, yo.
Well,
I
and
was-
when he, I'm sorry,
No.
when he, so he's in a movie called America's Sweethearts, which is arguably a fantastic movie.
Because it's got
Is that
American
with John
Sweethearts in it.
Cusack?
That
John
is.
Cusack,
Look
yeah.
at us, come bringing it back.
Yeah.
We need to have a John Cusack movie.
With Catherine Zeta-Jones was hysterical in that,
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
and he plays his Latin lover, like his like her. What do you like her
Cabana boy.
Her, yeah, and he's my peanut is bigger than coins. his accent in that is just to die for.
Well,
He's so fucking
And we just
funny.
watched Night at the Museum 2. I think he's in that one. And same thing.
Do not touch me.
Took a pretty not so great movie and makes it good. No,
Okay, Night at the Museum 2. You see, this is my problem with you, Brandon. That is the best of the
No,
night
no, one.
of the
One is
museum.
the better one.
No.
One is.
Yes.
One is.
2 is
But
way better.
it's
Robin
funny-
Williams.
Oh yeah. But it's here's what I was thinking is when I was watching this, I thought his character, the Agador Spartacus, Agador, could be really, really annoying and just kind of like, if he was played by anybody else. I thought that this is a character who could border on being annoying, but he isn't because of just the way Hank Azaria takes it.
He's the reason why I laughed when I was 13.
Yeah.
I realized like he
Yeah.
just pulled it in. It was like he was able to just tie it all in together. Like without him, it would have definitely been not as funny. Personally,
It would have
Like,
been more of a serious film without his, like, you know, and you would think, like, out of Robert Williams, you know, the guy that is usually the man of the screen, like, he's the man of the hour, like, you know, you put him because a comic performance and whatnot, but it's actually Hank makes the film just a more of a lighter tone.
See, I would see him and Nathan Lane because,
And Nathan Lane, yeah.
and this
Nathan
is
Lane.
always my criticism of Steve Martin. When Steve Martin plays a straight man in comedy, and I mean straight man as in the straight comedic.
You took my
performance.
joke. God, I'm saying my joke either way after
You
this.
guys have the same brains.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, you say
No,
it first.
when he plays the more serious comedian and plays off someone a more robust,
Plain
I
change
think
on
he
elbow
does
go.
much better than if he tries to be the funny person. Because Jim Carrey, Steve Martin, Robin Williams, they all have a tendency in their movies to go too far. Like for the first 25, 35 minutes, they're hilarious. And then it's just like, oh my God, I can't take you anymore. But when they play the more rigid comedian, I think they do much better.
You mentioned Planes, Trains, and to me, that's Steve Martin's best role because he is so non-funny. Right, he doesn't go out of his way to be funny.
No, he doesn't.
He's a straight man, and that's why I said it was interesting and I think really cool to see Robin Williams playing the straight character, the straight man character. No pun intended. That was my joke. But it's interesting seeing him because he's the one that you would normally think of, especially if you've seen any of his stand-up, is being that flamboyant, over-the-top,
Right.
kind of
Nathan Lane,
annoying,
yeah.
But Nathan Lane, and I swear Mike Nichols, who we got to talk about Mike Nichols as being the director of this and kind of just being a serious director, making this kind of out and out, no pun intended, comedy here, it really does well. But I think that Mike Nichols had to have gone up to Nathan Lane and just been like, just let it fly, do anything, just go over the top. And I think that, like you said, Nathan Lane takes Hank Azaria's character, and the two of them are why we watch this movie.
And there's so many one-liners that Nathan Lane is acting ridiculous, and Robin Williams comes in with this, "You're not a woman." You bastard. Like the interplay between them was so real. It wasn't, and like Jeremiah, you were saying this is adapted from a play or
It was
a stage?
adapted of a French play, and I
French
think
play.
it's called Le Cage aux Follows. I'm not a French expert, but it's a French play.
Well, you got it down.
Le Cage?
Yeah.
My guess is it's the Birdcage in French.
yes.
But you can tell that this was supposed to be theatrical. Like the sets were very simple. You had the apartment, you had the stage downstairs, you had
The
it was
dining room
very
table,
blocked.
yeah.
Yeah, it was not exactly complex of scenery. It was real simple.
I was thinking about the opening sequence. I'm just like, okay, this is a 90s film. Let's just do a view shot of the ocean,
Yeah.
going into Miami.
With
one
the-
shot.
with the
By
most
the way-
colorful clothes I've ever seen.
I've never been to Miami, but they cannot all wear
I
the
literally was
clothing.
asking Hannah, like, because she's from Florida, and she's like, yo,
is
do
she
pe-
really?
Yeah, she was like, hey, do
she went to
people like in
Florida.
South Beach dress like that? And she's like, no, they don't dress like
Is
that.
that
Okay,
near
so-
Palm Beach?
One of my favorite things.
And the dig at the bush, like
No,
the whole
things are okay because they're near Jeb Bush, the Jeb Bushes, and I'm like, at that point, I said this movie's okay.
If you're gonna make fun of any bush, the Jeb Bush is the
Jeb
fun one
Bush
to make.
Don't you dare touch George W.
He had to make an exclamation point behind it. Jeb. Like,
you guys
we're
like-
excited about you, Jeb. We're
Did
not.
you guys like Gene Hackman?
What's
Gene
up?
Hackman and his wife. Did you guys like? I don't know his
Diane
wife's
Wiest?
name. Yeah.
No,
Our
Diane
mom?
Wiest is a
Because
treasure.
Diane Wiest
I
is
felt
like
so
our
bad
mom.
for her most of the time.
Movie that we should do. I'm just throwing this out there for season whatever we're gonna do next. Practical Magic.
Love it.
Everybody in because I love her in that. I love her all
I
the
would
time.
do-
She's fantastic.
I would
do
do
it. I love
her in
Parenthood,
that
man.
Oh, parent. That's not her. That's Bonnie Bedelia.
No, Parenthood.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
because we
And
did
two-
we did Edward Scissorhands with her.
And we can also do The Lost Boys.
Well,
No,
that's your like. That's, I mean,
So remember that time that the senator died?
Oh my god, that phone call was just hysterical. Was just like it just kept escalating, and there's no better person to play that role than Gene Hackman.
I can't believe he actually played that role.
Why? He's
Because-
got a wicked sense of humor.
but-
You never see it.
You
though.
never see it.
You never see it.
Heartbreakers.
I don't think I've seen.
Well, that's
that
in
one.
Enemy of the
2000.
State?
I'm talking about this is the guy from Unforgiven, French Connection.
Enemy of the State?
Yeah.
This guy
Will
is
Smith?
like in hardcore political movies, and
The most fun I think outside of his drama ever is when he
Lex
plays Lex
Luthor.
Luthor.
Yeah.
yeah, but you're seeing him, and you're like, damn, this guy is just he knows how to work it, yo.
I mean, it's kind of like Meryl Streep doing Devil Wears Prada, right? So she's
In a way,
she's-
yes.
yeah, or Liam Neeson doing comedy. It's like you've got great,
Million Ways to Die in the West.
you've got these great actors like kind of slumming it, right? With the comedic actors, and Gene Hackman. It's so sad not to see him act anymore. And his last role was actually Double Jeopardy with John Cusack.
Good Lord, that was a long
Yeah,
time
it was a
ago.
long time
Was
ago.
it really?
Still alive?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
still.
That was like,
why
what,
isn't he
02?
acting anymore?
Because he's
He
tired.
retired. I think he's got a little dementia. That's what I read, but I could be wrong. But I think that
Gene, if
just
you're
got
out there
tired
listening,
of,
come
like,
on,
Hollywood
we'll talk
and
to you.
everything, dude.
I think these older actors are tired of the way Hollywood is
Probably, yeah.
has what
developed,
it's
too.
become.
Yeah.
yeah.
So you keep mentioning the phone call because we talked off mic earlier. Eddie, we talked earlier. Just the two of us.
Is that,
Doesn't surprise me.
So here's the thing. I think that the earlier scenes are really, really good, but I could have watched his over-the-top love of Nathan Lane's cross-dressed
Mrs. Coleman.
character, Mrs. Coldman, whatever.
fine
But I could
woman.
Well, I could watch that. I could have watched that for another. So we never know who we are until we hear a name pronounced.
you-
I love that. That was great.
do you not
But
like
I could
any
have
more-
watched that scene extended for another hour. To me, that could have been the whole play. Like maybe that is the original play. I don't know.
I think this is pretty close. The structure
It was
is
so
probably pretty
good.
close.
So
Did you want a more character development?
that is okay. So I have a couple.
I feel like I
criticisms.
was just lacking a little bit on some of the characters.
There's two parts that
They
okay,
were
so,
they were 2-dimensional instead of 3-dimensional. Is that the right terminology?
Yeah.
I felt like we got like first blush of okay, he's conservative senator, and what I liked about I actually thought Diane Wiest had the biggest transition because I thought she's just going to be like this meek conservative,
but she gets
wife.
cut off.
I understand that she gets cut off, but she also at the end she's like, I want to be someone's favorite. Like she has this
Yeah.
revelation
Release, I guess,
that
yeah.
she is not this little meek wife. Like she's just as important and integral
Yeah,
to his success. As
I
he
agree
is.
with you. In the beginning of the movie, I was just like, God, she's gonna just do that. Like, really?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, oh God, dude. How many
So,
times can
You
you
did
do
that so good.
Yeah. So I have two major criticisms, and it is going to affect my score. But one, to me, I said the pacing. I don't think it's really the pacing. I think it's the character development that we didn't get enough of the senator, his family, but also I don't think we got enough of Barbara to really appreciate it. Like we learn as we go through that Barbara knows about their lifestyle and everything, but
She
we
had,
don't
like,
really
5
know.
words she
I
came out
wanna-
of her mouth.
Yeah, I want to have more of that built up at the beginning, and then at the end, to me, it just wrapped up. It wrapped up too.
Also,
quickly.
Val.
Really
also,
quickly,
Val,
yeah.
too.
And Val, I kind of lump Val and Barbara in together.
I would have liked to know because this was dealing with a very difficult subject, right? Which
Yeah.
is, and what I mean, what
you're
is
gonna
their
say,
plan? What is their long term plan here?
do long-term-
Like, and this is, I think, we're analyzing this movie from the wrong perspective, and I'm going to kind of curb
Yeah.
this now because if you're looking at this movie other than a vehicle to bring comedy and situational comedy to audiences,
Yeah.
you're looking at it too deeply.
Yeah.
because this movie is about the conflict between at the time morality and a cultural movement that was coming forward, which was the LGBTQ community coming forward and out of the shadows and kind of becoming part of the society, and a rigid conservatism. And I think looking at it, trying to figure out what the drives of the characters were, that's not where we should be looking.
No, I get that. I get that. When I say that we wraps up quick, okay, so I love, and you guys were talking about it, I love the ending when they're kind of parading themselves out and through the dance. And I mean, that's the way they get out. To me, that's great. You got the cameraman kind of turning like, no, it can't be him. Like, that's great. And then it kind of drops off. And though we have the wedding in the title sequence, like you said, what's going to happen?
Exactly.
We needed to
Where's
have
your plan
We
here?
needed to
Yeah.
have literally just a couple lines, like 2 more minutes
Yeah.
of saying, hey, I can use this to my political benefit.
Exactly.
Right.
Just
And
that
I think
would have
today
been great.
you'd have had that.
And I thought you were going to say that, and I would have agreed with you if you had said it. But I would love to see what this movie would look like if it were made
It would
today.
be funny. It wouldn't be
It
funny.
would be hitting over the head.
It wouldn't be funny.
And I
It
think
would
it's-
be
yeah.
It would be
Offensive?
woke, political. It would be.
We talked about it. It's Glee. It would have been Glee.
It would have been
took a lot of
dancing
it.
on eggshells because he says at one point, I'm going to use the F word. He says, yes, I wear makeup. Yes, I'm a middle-aged fag.
Yeah.
That line alone was not offensive. It was not bad. It would never have made it in.
But
And that was him
Him
accepting
yeah.
who he is in a time that was not accepting of him.
Exactly,
With
and it was
his-
such a
with his-
beautiful line. That was
with
probably
his-
one of
with
the
his
best
son.
lines in the movie.
With
his son. Yeah, his
right.
son. There was a big-
And his son was clearly not offended because, and I loved and we're jumping all around. I loved
That's how we do this
the
thing.
moment at the end when the rue is up. Christine Baranski comes through the door.
By the way, can we? We
Oh,
need to
treasure, by the way.
appreciate Christine
She
Baranski
is so fucking
in
good.
everything. She reminds me of Bowfinger. I know we.
I've
jumping
never
on-
seen that
Oh, you
one.
haven't
No.
seen it?
You ever
would
seen that
love
one with
that
Steve Martin and
Oh
Eddie
my
Murphy?
God, that's literally put it on your to watch list.
It's a 1999 film, by the way.
Of course,
Is it
it is.
always? Of course it is. Yeah.
But when he comes forward and finally like accepts Nathan Lane as his,
I thought that was beautiful,
his
yeah,
mother
yeah.
figure, which
These
is
are my parents.
Yeah.
Right, these are my parents. These are the people who raised me. I feel like this whole movie would have gotten butchered today. It would not have worked.
I think you're right, and I mentioned In and Out jokingly, but it was actually true. Is that HBO paired them together, and I remember watching both of them, and coming out that was still relatively a taboo subject
taboo
in the
subject.
mid '90s or the late '90s even.
I mean, even Clinton was "Don't Ask, Don't Tell," so you even had kind
You
of
had
that
it
whole...
at different levels for sure, and
Right.
this was, so. I'm watching this movie and I say, I'm really appreciating this movie. I'm really liking this movie. Why did Sean pick this movie out of all the 90s movies? Like, that's where my head was. And I want to kind of hear your answer because I have an answer for myself, but I want to hear your thoughts.
So my answer is this. I think that this movie should have, and I think it somewhat did, set a standard for the gay movement on film, and it kind of made... I'm not giving you a fist bump.
No, that was my answer. That was my... So that's exactly what I thought, and that's why I appreciate it even
feel
more.
like, I mean, I'm an unabashed conservative. I fully embrace that.
Listeners,
aspect
I am
of my
not.
life. But at the same time, I think that there's a misconception.
Yeah, thank you.
I think there's a misconception, and I liked the caricature that Republicans or that Gene Hackman's character was portrayed with because it was absolutely ridiculous. He was so over the top, like when they were talking about all
My
the different
favorite-
topics, and I'm like, kill the mother. And I'm like, the whole way that it was presented,
Abortion.
I know the way that it was presented just made me feel like this is what comedy should have become, and it went totally different. But this is what comedy. This is what brings people together. Like, this movie is the type of movie that, if it was made or people watch it today, Republicans, Democrats, conservatives,
We can all
they
laugh
can
about something.
laugh about
Yeah.
it, enjoy it, and it makes them think. And to me, that's important.
So that's what I thought. Is that at first I was enjoying it, but I'm thinking of all the '90s, you could have picked something better. And then I realized it probably is an important movie. In a lot of ways, it's a movie that kind of helps to move the curve just a little bit more towards. Just
And
being,
it does it in-
allows for Glee
being
and things
woke.
like that to happen. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's just being woke. It's a nice movie. It's okay.
It's
It
not
doesn't
hitting us
bash
over
you
the
It doesn't
head.
bash over the head,
It's
and
just enjoyable.
it just realizes it makes you realize like it's perfectly fine to there's no big
And
deal.
I think it's also looking at Robert Williams because I think when the beginning of the 90s, it was all Mrs. Doubtfire. It was all Jumanji and everything like that.
Oh, Good Morning Vietnam.
Like now, this is the movie you see an actor like taking a risk and taking that next step.
Yeah, it was-
this movie, and then after this, it was Good Will Hunting. I was thinking, watching this movie, I'm like, fuck,
Oh, God, I
what
miss
a
him so
fucking
much.
being so fearless to do a movie like this. Where as Brandon was saying, it was very taboo to do a movie like this.
And I thought that fit right into the script, right? So not only was the movie itself taboo, the script was taboo, the topic was taboo, and Quentin Tarantino gave the advice of a lifetime to Leonardo DiCaprio during, I think it was Django Unchained, when he basically said, if you don't go full, like, embrace your character in the movie, it's not going to work. You've got to show what that time frame was. And I feel like if this movie had tiptoed around the issue, it wouldn't have worked. They had to embrace it. I went to my first drag show this year in Oregon. to support one
new
of our
information.
employees.
Awesome.
And I was blown away by this display. It was hysterically funny and charming, and the people worked so hard.
So nice, too.
They're pretty amazing performances. I'm
It
not
was
gonna lie.
amazing.
Dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, it was
It's
impactful
fun. Yeah.
and fun.
That's
and
cool.
everyone was there supporting it. And it was just such a different kind of feeling than I expected.
Yeah,
So-
for sure.
My wife and I, we went to our first drag show. Our first show. Doesn't
Was
matter.
it the Menagerie?
I don't want to say out loud, but yeah, I mean, you already said the Menagerie.
Have you
But-
been to one?
I've been to.
Oh my God! Why am I the only?
So, but we honestly,
Oh my God!
I'm not gonna lie.
me to one guy.
Democrat, you are.
I'm not gonna lie. All of us.
I have a few friends
So
that perform, dude.
so my wife and I, when we do a date night, like for some reason, that is one of the places we like to end up at, and we know what the night to go, and we enjoy it, and it's a really good show all the time, and it's a really great show. Like,
Amanda, we're going to a show out there.
Anyway, so I want to talk a little bit about the dichotomy between, or not dichotomy, that's not the right word, but the relationship between Armand and Starina, or Nathan Lane's character.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a couple of scenes in there where they just sparkle together when he's teaching him how to be more masculine. And he's
put the pinky down.
John Wayne. Be John Wayne.
Be John. Like, I'll get an image. John Wayne.
Put the pinky down.
Yeah.
I smear the toast. I smeared the toast.
You could always get more toast.
How do you think about those Dolphins? You know, third and play.
But you
Run
know
up and round onto the saloon.
You know what's very? I don't know what I'm jumping.
No, go ahead.
Going.
Go.
It became really poetic in a weird way of that Nathan Lane, how he stepped in for dinner, but he didn't get to play a part. He just got to be who he was. A mom
With a different name.
A mom.
Well, I guess no,
with
it was,
a mom.
he was Mrs.,
with
yeah,
just a
no.
different name, but a mom to Val as he's been doing it his whole life.
Which-
and
when
in the
he-
very end, I think Val maybe started like, "Hey, these are my parents that you've been seeing this whole time."
He introduces him as his mother, which is something that we see from the very beginning. As you know, that's
Yeah,
his mindset.
As much as the funniest part was when I think it was Hank saw Nathan Lane. I think he might have started a little smile from everyone a little bit, if you really slow motion, but it was just hilarious. He just started laughing. It was like, but it became really like, hey, this is how it's supposed to be. This is the dinner is proper, how it actually is set.
And that's the whole thing that I kind of appreciated about Val was when he came forward at the end and kind of said, you know, this is the people who raised me. And his biological mother was, you could see the pride in Christine Baranski's face.
Yes.
Was like, you know what? Yes. Like I am
did an
proud
amazing
of
job.
that you
Yeah.
came from
What I
me.
love is that she cancels her plans. I mean, so I say this about a lot of movies, and these are movies that I really like. It's a movie about good people just being good people, you know. And Christine Baranski, she's a perfect example. Her character is a perfect example of somebody who in other movies might turn vindictive or just be a little bitchy or whatever. And she says, no, I'm going to cancel my plans. I'm going to be there for the son that I basically did a contract with and gave my
Armand
eggs
says
for.
this is the first time in 20 years that you're needed.
Yeah.
And she
and
rises
she drops
to the
it.
challenge.
And she is there at the wedding at the end, and there is that pride there in her face. And I think Bransky, such an I don't want to say underrated, but under the radar.
She's too big of a star. Let me rephrase. She's too good of an actor for that part.
Yeah.
But she
handles
takes
it.
what little time she has and makes it magnificent.
And it's a great supportive character, which, like I said, all these people, all of them, even the senator, he's a good person. He's got his own beliefs, and whether they're good or they're bad, they're all good people.
Did anyone see Dr. Beverly Hofstetter?
Well, that's Christine Baranski.
I know. I mean, did you see it though when you were seeing her? Like, were you expecting her to be kind of like? I was like, Sheldon's mom.
Well, so she's been in a bunch of
Bowfinger.
movies, but
Great movie.
So Bowfinger, yes, but also like she was in Mamma Mia, and
Yes.
she was also in oh my goodness, now I'm gonna forget what it.
Describe it.
Lawyer,
The Good Wife?
Yeah, The Good Wife.
Yeah, that one.
And The Good Fight, and she's totally serious in that, and she's so much.
God,
it's
I
so
just
much different. It's so good.
remember from
and you know who
Cole's
she's married to in
Attention.
that show is
Cruel Intentions. Yes.
the funny
always
guy
play a
from
doctor.
Office Space, the boss from Office Space.
Gary
Oh, Gary Coleman.
Cole.
What do you think about like Mike Nichols actually doing this film? You know, this guy
I
has
looked
like
up
a
his-
resume of all
The
resumes.
Graduate.
Okay,
He's
so
got
take
Charlie-
me
you know,
through some Mike Nichols
Graduate.
movies. Okay,
The Graduate. He did Closer.
Yeah, Closer, which I don't know if you.
You ever
I
seen
think
that
you
movie?
and I are probably the only ones that seen it.
You ever seen it?
It's
Fucking hardcore, man.
The head says
Angels in America. That's a
Yes.
great
So
fucking
I'm
film,
guessing that he's part of the LGBTQ
no.
community.
He was married to Diane Sawyer for
Really?
years.
Okay.
Years.
That surprised me because, like, when you look at this, isn't my problem with today's Hollywood, right? Which is you have to be part of the group to represent the group. That's the mentality that's being ingrained.
I can see that.
And-
Primary Colors is probably one that you've seen.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that.
But I was
John
going to say,
Travolta.
with the exception of regarding Henry, which is a damn great movie.
Oh, that's a good. That's
but all of his stuff is
Annette
really,
Bening? Yeah.
All of his stuff though is really on the
Serious?
serious side. So for him to go all the way to the outside of drama, I mean there is drama there, but for him to go that far and to do it that well, I think is a good sign of a good
So
director.
I'm going to get political for a minute because
do.
I really loved this aspect of this movie, and this is one of the reasons why I picked it. For a period of my life, I taught American government, and we went through the civil rights movement with Martin Luther King. And one of the things that Martin Luther King Jr. did that was different than everyone else had tried is he used language and his actions to garner support in the community he was trying to change. So he was actually trying to reach out to essentially white people in government and in society and bring them over onto his way of thinking. Bring them over onto his side. And I feel like this movie did that for this community. Did that took it the same way. Like, you need to understand what our community is doing, and that it's not harmful, it's not dangerous, and this is who we are, and you need to start understanding that.
So let
and
me-
I appreciated that.
let
part
me
of
let me
it.
counter that with something
Okay.
that I did think. Do you feel, and this is to everybody, do you feel that Nathan Lane's character, now Nathan Lane, he is a gay man. I mean,
Yes.
so him playing that role is maybe kind of settle some of this question, but do you feel that him playing the over the top stereotypical drama drag queen gay character hurts what you were saying?
No, because his layers were peeled back over the course of the movie, and you realized that how good of a parent he had been to Val, how
Okay.
important he was.
I see what you're saying.
So I think that we have to. I think this movie does it.
It's about transition.
It sets up the bowling pins of stereotypes. You have the stereotypical wife in Diane Weiss. You have the stereotypical conservative. You have the stereotypical drag queen, and then you have the not so stereotypical cabaret owner in Armand, and you have children trying to deal with their parents, which are very stereotypical. And during the course of the movie, all the layers are stripped back, and you find out that people, and this is what I was talking about with getting allies, right? You have to show that the stereotypes aren't what you expect. That the truth behind the stereotypes are that everyone's just people trying to work together and live together.
And it was done beautifully when, like, you know, Robert Williams' character, he goes and finds Nathan Lane's character by next to the pier and whatnot. And, you know, you see that Nathan Lane has these fears of, like, I'm being forgotten. I don't know if you believe in me or if you're supportive for me or whatnot. You know, just concerns of, like, everyone.
the palimony agreement.
Yeah, the palimony agreement. You see two people like, no, I love you. Like, you know, I want to be with you. This is us. And this is us being together and everything like that. I don't know if I've ever seen a movie or before this movie, where it actually talked about it. Maybe a Dog Day Afternoon. That was a good fucking flick. But the struggles of how two people are trying to make something happen in a world that it doesn't really allow them at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, though, how is it Armin? Like
Armand, yeah.
Armand,
yeah.
like, he was in the very beginning of the movie, how he was just hiding it to Albert. Like, I just broke it down. Like, if supposedly was he hiding that? Hey, my son's gonna be coming to town. Why would you hide that though?
Because
it was
his
his
son
son
asked
asked.
not to have Albert there for the reveal that he was getting married because he knew
His son
or
was already trying to
expect-
hide it.
No, he expected how Albert was going to react,
Hmm.
and so here's the. I don't mean to tell it because I'm not.
I feel
very-
bad for
I'm not
Albert
very-
a lot of times.
Oh,
in the
for
movie.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
But no, but I think that this also dealt with the theme of dealing with in-laws, and it doesn't matter if your in-laws are unexpected or
Amazing,
gay or
overall,
whatever it is.
just
But
just the
that
idea.
whole melding of families is already stressful and difficult.
Yeah.
I think there's two parts of the film. Sorry.
No,
Brian.
go for it.
There's
Go
two
for
parts of the film. There's the beginning part of the film, and there is the second half part of the film where it leads up to the dinner part, where you're just like, okay, then it's starting to actually roll, and then you see how everything's going to be playing out. And I think the second part of the film really is a stronger part of the film than the first part of the film.
I agree.
I agree.
Although
I love when you get to kind of see behind the scenes of the cabaret and the drama that it takes to get that cabaret up and running. And
I love when they clean out the apartment and they're just getting everything and all the
That crucifix part was so funny.
So
dude.
good.
only only detract. Don't add.
So I do want to go back though because there's
Just the crucifix.
So I said there were two parts that frustrated me, and I love.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Brandon.
Okay, no,
the
because
dinner
it's-
plates too, bro.
I have girls. Don't you have girls? No.
Are we
we're ready
jumping
for
over
the
each
main
other?
dish. We're ready for the main dish, and that was the main dish.
Miso soup is an entree.
Don't forget the shrimp. Don't forget the shrimp.
Didn't give me enough
He's got
time.
to hold him in there. So
The dreams.
I wanted to say because I'm coming late to the party here, but you were talking about the relationship, and to be fair, I was bothered by the relationship on a character level. That to me, I'm watching this movie and I see two characters who shouldn't be together. They don't complement each other until the bus stop scene,
Yeah.
right? And after that, you understand. My thing is, I wish we had gotten more of that relationship.
yes.
And it kind of goes back to I wish we'd gotten more Val and Barbara too. I wish we'd gotten more of the relationship between the two because I'm watching the whole time going like, why?
It's a play. That's why.
Oh no, I get it.
No. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm just saying
You get-
because it's a play, you just don't get that.
You don't get it.
Yeah.
But and this is so the whole idea of adaptation is a really tricky thing in literary studies. Is how much do you kind of the add don't detract?
You can
Whatever.
add- you can
How
add
much can you
stuff.
add into a movie when if you add so much does it take away from being the actual original
and
play?
it comes and
So
it comes
there's a
back
lot
the-
to it, but I guess what I'm saying is coming at it just from a movie standpoint. I wish I'd seen more relationship caring. We see it a little bit when he's teaching him to be a man. We don't get it really though until the bus stop, and that bus stop scene to me
By
was
the
the
pier.
greatest scene of the entire
was
entire movie.
Done. It was really amazing.
I just want a little bit more of that
Yeah.
the time through.
So I think again, this movie is a vehicle for comedy, not a vehicle for growth. And then it has a message that you can kind of agree with and enjoy as it goes on.
Right.
And I think that is the stumbling block of the film to be like, if you were going to consider this movie in the pantheon of movies, of great movies, you couldn't add it because it doesn't have that same element. It's enjoyable. Don't get me wrong. I love this movie, but it doesn't, you can't put it in a Good Will Hunting, realm.
But can you
By
put it
any-
as in a film that kind of changed the way how we looked at films?
I look at it as a doorman
I
film.
would say
And
characters, the way we look at certain characters.
Yeah.
I would say the way we look at themes, the way we look at actually subject matter.
Yeah.
Because without this movie, you don't have Brokeback Mountain, which I would say is you have, you don't have any really mainstream gay theme movies without this.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong because if you go back in time and you look at something like, I would say the precursor to this, if you go all the way back, is Some Like It Hot.
I knew you were going to go there.
which is the same kind of
you owe me
concept.
$5.
But it was a great
You mentioned
fucking
it.
film, man.
It's a great film.
Yeah.
But that is a movie about people who aren't gay, that they're cross-dressing. That's a totally different, if you haven't seen Some Like It Hot, you definitely need to watch that movie. It's Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis.
And
And
Sean will
Marilyn
make sure
Monroe
that
is-
we cover that movie in a upcoming podcast.
As soon as
at
we
some
get
point.
back into the 60s, I'm doing that movie. That movie is freaking
I have no problem with that movie, by the way, Sean. I actually really enjoyed
Actually,
that
I
movie.
think it might be the 40s. 1959. Sorry.
Close enough to
right there.
Sorry.
I was gonna
sorry,
say-
I went
I was
too
thinking
far.
early 50s though. I was thinking
Marilyn Monroe was in it.
Who?
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe, yes.
I'm not saying her name right.
I thought we were talking about-
Rose.
Norma Jean was in it, okay?
Norma Jean was in it.
Candle in the Wind.
Anyway, so let's talk a little bit. I mean, we've talked about characters, we've talked about themes. Let's talk a little bit the comedy, because one of the things that I get tired with, like we did The Hangover a couple of seasons ago. We've done some comedy, and I have a hard time with comedy. I don't think that they sustain their funniness. And
American
this-
Pie,
You mean
Galaxy
over
Quest.
the course of a movie, or do you mean over the course of years?
Both. I think holding up over the course of years, comedy seems dated to me.
So you're more like a sketch comedy. You would rather have in a short.
I like situational.
Short
Right.
You don't like American Pie or Galaxy Quest?
No, I think they're both very funny, and I think that some of the jokes fall flat and feel old. I didn't feel like any of these jokes felt old. I felt like they felt
And
fresh.
I think the reason being, and I'll keep throwing this out there, but is the satire. The fact that it's not just humor, it's humor that's biting. I wrote down some of my favorite ones. Is that Billy Graham is too liberal.
Yeah. Too liberal.
When you got Albert as Mrs. Coleman,
Yeah.
who is hearing the story about Jackson and has no idea what's going on and says, "Oh, I think he was framed," and you just get this serious look. That's exactly what Rush Limbaugh said. And all I thought of Sean was you, who is Sean is I think, are you one of the founding members of the Rush Limbaugh fan club, or what are you?
I was.
He's
yes,
up there.
I was
He
definitely
contributed
a
money
Genovese.
to Rush Limbaugh. I can tell you that much. But you get this humor that isn't just funny for funny's sake. And I'm going to go on the ledge and throw myself out there and say that I think that Will Ferrell is funny. I think that his movies are funny. I know that a lot of people really don't like Will Ferrell.
Hey, I love Step Brothers. I can still laugh to that movie
Right.
until this fucking day.
Another one that I think, so I do enjoy Will Ferrell movies, and yeah, it gets a little old. The character gets a little old. But what you get is you get a story like a Will Ferrell movie, and you get a movie that is just kind of a one-trick pony, right? With this one, and that one trick is usually just somebody acting like an idiot. With this one, you get a lot more educated humor. You get humor that
It's more highbrow.
You have to, it's highbrow. You have to know the politics. You have to know the situation. You have to know the time period to get it. A kid can't watch this and laugh. A kid can watch a Will Ferrell movie and laugh just as much as an adult because it's a different type of humor.
But also a group of actors that are playing off each other left and right.
Yeah.
That helps out.
Good
And
actors.
Ensemble,
really good,
yeah.
ensemble actors. That really helps this movie out. And that in the dinner room, in front of the crucifix, I mean, the tension's so thick, but everyone is so fucking good playing off one another.
When he tells
It's
us
so
the story
good.
about the foliage, I was just riveted by the story.
I love how Gene Hackman loved Nathan Lane too. The whole time is like
the whole time.
here's
The
this,
foliage
like-
in Ohio.
She's a marvelous. And then he has this story in his head, like she's a victim or something.
Yeah,
like that.
that joke about Grover's Corners.
The best thing is when the reveal happens and he just got
don't
Gene Hackman
understand.
standing there saying over and over he doesn't get it. And he says, "That's a man. I don't get it. I don't understand."
No. Before that is when they're going through the whole thing. You find out they're gay. You find out they're together. You find out Val's mom is Christine Baranski, and he goes back. He goes, "They're Jewish." It's like, that's what you pulled away from that? That their main name is Goldman and not Coleman. Cordelimon. So what I was gonna make a comment earlier. So I love Family Guy. I think Family Guy is hysterical. And one of my favorite episodes is when Rush Limbaugh was on Family Guy with Brian. That's comedy. That when people can make fun of each other and not take it too seriously,
themselves,
that's
yeah.
so funny to me. I love self-deprecation. I like when people don't take themselves so seriously.
I like it when comedians are not afraid to say something because it's part of actually being a comic. You know, it's not supposed to feel comfortable when you're doing a comedy movie or that sort of
skit,
thing.
yeah,
A
something.
skit. To me, I think it's really cool when people are able to take a risk and not be afraid of actually being an artist at the same time.
You asked earlier, Brandon, about Nathan Lane and the flamboyancy of his character and the stereotypes of his character. If you fast forward like to 98, so 2 years later, you had Will and Grace come out, and you had Jack, who wasn't a drag queen or anything on that show, but he was definitely the more flamboyant character. I think that I keep going back to the same thing where I think that the stereotype and realizing that there's more to the stereotype is the way to ease into changing people's minds. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I think that if we look at it on a holistic level, the movie's reception would be a lot different if Rob Williams and Nathan Lane's characters were reversed.
Yes.
Where if Williams, a straight actor, played the stereotypical character, like you talking about making fun of yourself, Nathan Lane is doing that. He's making fun of his group. That,
Yeah, and
LGBT
they
group.
did it in Modern Family too. I mean, it's the same concept. You had
It is.
the heterosexual actor playing the more flamboyant of
Yeah.
the gay couple. I just think that it kind of, it's so funny because the progression of the film to me is like everyone's fucked up in the movie. Everyone's
Yeah.
just as
Except
fucked
for
up as
Barbara. I want more Barbara. I loved Callista Flockhart.
All she did was like eye movement.
Yeah, she did. And then she's like, oh, I'm going to go help you.
Have you ever seen Ally McBeal?
Yes, that's her.
That show is. Have you ever
have
seen
not.
it?
The show became
That
show became because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also really helped Robert Downey Jr.'s career resurrect
was
it
in it.
because
Yeah,
he
he was
was going
fantastic.
pretty bad at that time.
So Tu Wan Fu, right? That came in 1995.
Right. But see, that's the same
But
thing
see, I
that,
feel
like
like-
we were talking about with Something Like It Hot. That was...
This was more a movie. I don't know. It's hard to explain it.
This was more a subject matter movie. That was a movie with a element. It wasn't
Yeah.
about. The movie wasn't about.
Like,
Were they
God bless their
thieves
soul.
or
Patrick
whatever?
Swayze. I think they were thieves.
Yeah. and that- so
Patrick
they
Swayze.
Yeah, they
dressed-
were on the run or something
Yeah, they
like
were
that.
on the run. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, bosom buddies kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think the last part of the film is the highlight of the film where everything comes together and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
I think we have definitely a vehicle for Robin Williams and Nathan Lane to really be comedic. I think
Robin Williams, man.
He was just. I mean,
96. He had Jack. He had.
Jack.
He had this movie, The Birdcage, and he also had
Bicentennial Man?
Aladdin.
Oh, just kidding.
Aladdin. Oh
and
my
then
God.
97, Good Will
96.
Hunting. Like the 90s was owned by Robin Williams.
But that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I think this movie was that vehicle for
the
him
risk.
to actually to take that risk and do movies like it was preparing him to get to that next role where he actually won an Academy Award.
And Patch Adams. What a funny
What
movie.
did he win Academy Award for?
Good Will Hunting.
Other than Goodwill, is that it?
No, just
that's
that
it.
was it. That was it.
Nobody got the joke.
And we didn't really talk.
Patch Adams, a funny movie.
No, it was funny. It
was not funny. It was
No,
No,
remember Awakenings?
Aladdin was 92. Never mind, my
You
bad.
remember
Yes.
what
Aladdin
dreams
was
can
92.
come from or what dreams came
What,
from?
what dreams may come.
Yeah.
So let me tell
Yeah.
you. Let me just tell you about a little vehicle that Robin Williams was in that was fantastic. It was a movie called Dead Again with Kenneth Branagh.
Yep.
and
91.
he played a little part. I think it might have been a homeless man, and he was so fantastic. That was a great movie. If anyone, that is the most we talk about underrated movies. That movie is like an underrated gem hidden amongst.
You always talk about that movie every season, by the way.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But
I love the movie. It's got what's his name?
You can't go wrong with Kenneth.
Kenneth Branagh. It's got his then wife
I thought it was Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson.
Yeah.
And
They're
then
still
Andy
married? No, they're still
Garcia,
married.
Derek Jacobi. Oh, it was so good. It was such a good movie.
And then Robin Williams.
And Robin Williams. That's true. Bringing us back to this movie.
Yes.
That brings us to the end of our review. Now it's time in the podcast where each of the hosts provides his score on the following scale. Eddie, when you have a second, please provide our following scale.
I say it as in like I don't know what to say. I think you still messed up on this.
No, it's on the next. It's on the. Other
There's a
page.
0 on one page, and then the
Where
1,
is
2,
it?
3, 4,
Where
5.
is it?
It's on page
Well,
3.
here
Oh.
you can just have
0. Yeah, you're right. Thank you guys.
there's there.
Why would you not do that? Why don't you just put one more
Because I
enter?
just pushed print.
Enter one more time. Okay, 0, the perfect movie. You don't need shit to enjoy
Go
it.
to the next page.
1, a feel-good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. 3, on the Uber or lifting home. 4, a rough morning or watch of shame. 5, blackout, shit-faced, spring break drunk. What's gonna happen when we don't do spring break anymore? Like we should move on.
Can we
from
do fall break?
that. I don't know.
Well, we can do Panama
Summer break?
City.
I don't know.
Palm Beach.
Palm Beach drunk.
Blackout, shit-faced, spring
Palm
break
Beach
drunk.
drunk.
Palm Beach drunk.
Palm Beach drunk.
Gentlemen, let's start with Brandon.
Oh, this is a tough one because I have no score.
I like that.
Written down.
Wow,
so-
you usually pre-write your.
Oh,
scores.
here's what it was. Up until season 3 began, I had my scores, and damned if I do, and damned if I won't ever change those.
This is a 1.
This is it. I would be like showing it off to
This
you.
is a shit 5.
Yeah.
Now I leave it blank, and I let you guys talk me one way or the other. Because to be honest, I'm going to be fair. There were 3 parts of this movie that just bothered, 3 aspects of the movie, and I talked about them. Development of Barbara, especially Barbara, but also just the senator, his character, the relationship between Armand and Albert, and then the ending. Those 3 things kind of just really frustrated me. And I still think that though we talked about it, and you guys have talked me into being a little bit more accepting of it, it's still really frustrating that that we didn't have a little bit more character development. And for a 2-hour movie, I think that we could have squeezed some more of that in. It
was 2 hours.
In a little bit.
fussy.
Right, is that if we took some, and I know this is kind of maybe a negative thing to say, is if we took some of the outward jokes and just reaching just for the humor, and we gave a little bit more time to the character development, I would have liked that a little bit more. So I came in, I was thinking, It's going to be in the mid-range score. I do see the maybe cultural relevance of it and the historical relevance of it, and so for that, I want to bump it up to what I was thinking. So, I'm not. I don't think it's a great movie. I think it is not as influential a movie as other movies, but at the same time, I think it's a really good one. It's fun. I don't feel like I would ever not want to see this one again if it's on. So I'm going to go with a 2.5. I think a 2.5 is yes, Eddie. I will definitely go 2.5. So Ed, because you're a piece of shit, let's go ahead and see what you have to say.
You're gonna add Happy Buzz with a shot.
Yes.
Say it correctly, please.
I would like to have a happy buzz with an extra shot to make me feel a little bit better in the morning.
All right. That's all it's going to take for you. Isn't
And
it?
you know what? If you keep at it,
Yes.
we're going to have a Bloody Mary in the morning, too.
I hate
Also, I
those.
just want to throw this out there.
Step
before-
up to the mic. You want some fruit punch and mashed potatoes?
Where's this going?
Where's that from?
Oh, my God. I don't
I'm
even
guessing a Will Ferrell movie.
know. Let me just say, Eddie,
You
and to
done-
everybody,
You already gave your story.
I am willing. No,
Yes.
this you're going to appreciate this. I am willing
Yes.
to revisit Michael Myers with the new upcoming Halloween movie that's happening
I'm
later
not.
this year.
Move on. Here we go.
No. Time out.
was
We
for
actually
you,
did
Ed.
a post on Instagram, and by the way, it's 78% said please
Oh my gosh.
review that. For
I
me.
don't
I
believe
actually
you're-
answered that and said no.
I don't.
You said no.
I
He
said
was,
no.
he was like one of the few.
I was like,
I was a
few
no.
people.
I was a no as well.
You guys can't
I
skew
don't
the
trust
score.
your numbers.
You guys can't skew it.
see these
Fake news. Keep going. Eddie.
missed that. No, I don't. Not a bit.
All right.
Fake
So
news,
this
sit down.
movie is very hilarious, and it does put Robin Williams. It just wraps up his little movie like the '90s with Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. It brought him out of nowhere. Like I wasn't really expecting. I didn't know him that well until this movie. This movie, I do see it as very funny, but I kind of agree with Brandon. Like there's, I know it doesn't happen often,
What the hell?
but I wish there was a little bit more character development with Val and Barbara. I wish Gene Hackman wasn't so much a dick half the times, but he was funny. The very end of the movie is what I was looking forward to the whole time. Was with, and not because it
He
was.
kind of redeems himself a little bit in the end.
He does. I didn't like how. I mean, I did like how. I guess he was a good senator because he was like everyone just believes the headlines and they don't really know the people. It's kind of like nowadays. Everyone just reads headlines.
They
and
don't read the
that's
facts.
So they don't read the facts. They haven't
They
looked for the
read
facts.
BuzzFeed.
And facts are just all fake facts. So, but like. I mean, this brought back good feeling movies of the '90s. This was a good '90s movie.
It kicked us off.
It kicked
our
us off
decade,
really well, yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Every
and,
time, Brandon.
God, Brandon, you just always overtalk me. You just, God, but like, do I
Yeah,
do I
definitely.
do
I see
I
what you're
think
saying.
it's,
Absolutely.
do I think it's one of my funnier movies that I would like to watch? No, but it doesn't mean it doesn't make it less. Overall, it's just something that I would enjoy to watch. I enjoy to watch right now, but overall, it's not my first top 5 go-to movies. But it's up there with. It's definitely has its own little footprint in movie cinema. I'm gonna give this movie a happy buzz with little over a quarter of a shot, so 2.35.
Yeah, you can't do that. I did that
We
for
did that
goodies.
last-
Stop.
Not last time.
Sorry,
A couple times ago we did that.
You open up a door, my friend, and everyone's gonna take
2.35.
advantage of that one.
2.35?
yes, it's underneath. It's
You're
not a full
just
shot.
making the math hard for yourself.
Yeah.
Can I get a 2.347643?
2.35. So it's a better score than Brandon because I don't agree with how Brandon scored it, but I'm a little bit better.
Jer, what you got?
The Birdcage, I feel, represents the 90s in the best way, man. Like, I think it's one of those movies that Brandon said that he doesn't feel like this movie really is, like a culture type of film that might have paved way for other films.
That's a footprint.
I think I disagree with that because I think it was something that
say you did.
no, I think it's just a movie that I think was done beautifully done and portrayed by Robin Williams and Nathan Lane as I think you're seeing two people like being fearless in a role that at a time that it was very taboo to do something like that, and you got to give praise and you got to give respect for that film. I think every actor in this film is fantastic. I think the dialogue and the writing is like just top notch. I think the first half of the film is a little slow. I think the second half of the film is a way better film. And I agree with Brandon on this. I wish I had more of an ending because it was just like, okay, that's it. We got out of the club and whatnot, but shit, what happens afterwards? And I would have had a little
The wedding
more.
wasn't enough.
Yeah, I just wanted more
made me laugh.
situations and whatnot,
wasn't enough.
At the whole time, I was just so upset with Val and how he was and how he was ashamed, but then it was a different time at that time. That's how it was. And I like how he came full circle at the end of the movie. It's not the funniest movie, and it's not the greatest movie in the world, but it's a good movie that I think people should watch and pay respect to it. So I think I am a happy buzz with this film. It's a 2 for me here.
Do you want to add any
No.
inconsequential numbers
I'm
after
just gonna
that?
go with my 2 drinks here and be happy about that.
Rookie story.
Glup.
Whole numbers.
Sean, bring us home.
8675309.
Oh, that's a good song.
867.
Real quick, has anybody ever actually called? I mean, everybody's called that number at some point.
I've never have.
Never have.
We're doing it next. we'll have a happy buzz with it.
So this is my movie. I picked it for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I grew up with it. Number two is because I remember it being hysterically funny. But I think that it also, like, our mandate on the podcast is that we pick movies, we review movies that have impacted film. And I do think that this movie fits into that criteria. This movie has impacted film in a positive way. I think Robin Williams, it was one of his better comedic performances that didn't bother me. And that is a personal opinion because I like I said, with him, Jim Carrey, with Steve Martin, even with Will Ferrell, I think that I get tired of their performance over the course of the film.
Underrated too.
Yes, very underrated.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my favorite Will Ferrell movie is Stranger Than Fiction. There's no greater
whose
movie
isn't?
out there. So from this movie's
watch that movie.
perspective, I think the writing is fantastic. I think it's sharp, it's quick, it's back and forth. The parent tablets, the back and forth between Hank Azaria and the rest of the cast is great. When at the end of the movie, when Gene Hackman asks, "I don't really drink. Now's the time to pretend." Like, I think that it's quick, and if you'll miss it if you're not really watching this movie. And I think there's a couple of layers. You can watch this movie many times, and to me, this movie kind of took what Seinfeld did and blew it up in a kind of a different way, which is made dialogue and the playoff words and the playoff feelings situations so funny. And I agree with you, Brandon. I think that the characters were underdeveloped. I think today they'd have beat you over the head with the character development, and it would have been an unwatchable movie. So it's hard for me to punish the story because of something that I think today would have destroyed the story. I have not rated it yet, so don't start with your...
Come on, I'm trying to just do the math, bro.
I also am looking at our list, and I'm looking at movies that are... I do. I look at where it should fall on our list, and I'm not trying to influence the score. Like, for me, I think this movie's above average. I don't think it's one of the greatest movies ever made. I will never say that.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's an above average movie. So I'm tempted to give it a 2. And I think that I should give it a 2.15 because Eddie...
Jesus.
You like my 2.35, huh? You liked it?
Well, no, I just canceled it out with my 2.15.
This will never, ever...
2.15?
I see what you did there. That's a 2.5. Oh, look at that.
And I think that's it's a little better than average. So an average on our scale would be a 2.5. So it's above average film. And
Should you 2.15?
yeah.
Okay.
He's a bastard.
And I think that this movie will be right in the middle of kind of good average movies.
You know what it won't be in the middle of?
Point Break, because Point Break sucks.
Well, I already got my Point Break.
Honestly,
I was going to say a Brian Cox movie because they're all really high.
there's no reason to bring Point Break in every
So
fucking episode.
if we add all the scores together, Ed, and divide by 4, what does
Should
the
you do your math?
Birdcage
My math
give
was
us?
bad. So I'm really banking on you right now.
Let's try it again.
I was over like 7.2. I missed something. What did I miss? It makes us a 2.25.
And Brandon, on our scale of, I'm sorry, Jeremiah?
Jared's going to take this.
Jared.
Yeah, he always takes it. This is him.
This is me.
Well, I know,
It's
but
him.
you wrote the numbers on the side of your page.
I got it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So Jeremiah, when we take that, what was that score, Ed?
2.25.
When we take that 2.25, where does that put us on our list of the films that we've reviewed?
It actually ties in our 23 spot with a lot of other films. Tombstone 2.25, Christmas Vacation 2.25, Twilight 2.25, Black Panther 2.25.
Wakanda Forever.
I'm seeing
And
some of these.
behind
like
it is
Christmas
Hocus
Vacation.
Pocus.
Christmas Vacation and Twilight. I didn't have a say in those because those would not be 2.25.
In front of it is Quiet Place, Watchmen, and Goonies. So yeah.
I really think this is a good spot for it.
I think it is. Yeah.
Jeremiah, are you happy with
I'm
with
really happy
settlement?
because 2.25, I mean, it's with Tombstone and...
I feel like that's the good story of a good movie,
Tombstone's
average
like the only
above
movie I
movie.
like.
Well, 2.25 is just above average. I mean, that's where it should be. All those movies are just above average.
So what we're saying is hashtag 23. 23 and me. 23 ingredients in Dr. Pepper.
I don't
What?
know what. I don't know what. you're
That
talking
What?
went over my head too.
Yeah.
23.
Number 23.
23.
So, Jeremiah, what do we have up next week on our list of movies that we're reviewing? Our second entry into the 90s?
I believe this is going to be Eddie's pick.
Eddie's pick.
Eddie decided to go with a hardcore, end of the world type of a movie of the late
Independence
90s.
Day, we've already done that.
Oh, no,
no,
my
no.
friend. This is actually Independence Day 2
Deep Impact?
with Michael Bay.
Whoa!
Oh, you see what I did right there? Go for
Liv
it, bro.
Tyler, bro. Ben Affleck. Bruce Willis.
You mean Ben Affleck in the 90s
I could
without
sing
Matt
the
Damon?
song right now.
I can
but
stay awake.
Just to see you breathe.
Armageddon. With
Armageddon will be the
getting
next
ready
90s
for it.
film.
I'm getting ready for it.
I literally forgot this was a Michael Bay film. I'm super excited.
It's a
about
Jerry
this movie.
Bruckheimer film, Michael Bay.
It's really hard finding this movie to watch too. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you can borrow mine. Steve Buscemi.
okay.
I'm super excited about that.
I had the best. I had the best seat in the house.
Michael Clark Duncan.
So can you please get off the rocket or the nuke?
The nuclear missile. All right. If you enjoyed our review or are a fan of the podcast, we ask that you please subscribe wherever you're listening. It's very important that you give us a 5-star review on iTunes, and please give us a physical review wherever you're listening. Jeremiah, we just added another place to listen. We're on, obviously iHeartRadio, Pandora, Podcast Network, but there was one more that we just added.
We just added, I believe, Pandora, which is pretty awesome.
Pandora.
actually.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That is pretty awesome because now people go, oh, wait, you can actually find our podcast at Pandora, which was really hard a couple years ago.
It's like a 2-year program. 2-year.
So we're definitely growing, but we really appreciate every listener, and we want you to really focus on telling one person about our podcast and help us grow.
Only one person.
One person. And just say, you pick a movie and say, do you like this movie? And go watch that or listen to that one
I will
podcast.
always recommend Garden State as a
Like
starter.
we had one fan email us about 3:10 to Yuma because apparently nobody does that movie on a podcast.
Who does that
And
one?
she was super excited about the fact that we had reviewed that podcast, and it led her into, or that movie, and it led her into like listening to 6 or 7 other ones. You can email us at hosts@thegentlemanpodcast.com. You can visit us on Instagram at the.gentlemanpodcast. I know every week I suck. I'm sorry. Every other week now. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we will see you. And just remember, we are family.
Family. Cheers.
Yeah, so I think that was a good one. Best one, maybe not, but that was a really good one.
I like it. I need another drink.
I need you to make me one.